Happy Wednesday morning to you, Cross Point Alliance Church. Hope that you're well, resting in Jesus and turning everything over to Him. I have to remind myself of that every day, that my joy is independent of whatever's going on with the economy or whatever. The anxieties and the stresses and whatnot, they always follow. So there's no, they're not going to go away. So we just want to give them up. So anyway, hope that you're doing well and living independent of this world system with your joy in the Lord. So just one thing that I want to mention, Crosspoint, and that is 5-Day Club is coming up. The dates for 5-Day Club, it's the week of June the 6th. So it'll be June 6th to June 10th. This is a big deal. We will have it at Krogan Park. We'll be ministering to children, like, I don't know, I think kindergarten to like 6th grade, those who are rising into 6th grade. So it'll be in the evening, and it's a big push here at Crosspoint, always has been. And we're trying to connect with kids that are kind of outside our circles. And that's why we're doing it at the park. We also want to meet a whole bunch of people and share the gospel and share the good news and just be salt and light and be visible in the community, in a public space. So that's kind of the idea, is we want to engage the community with the gospel. So we do that at multiple levels. But yeah, that's the big thing. So if you want to be involved, talk to Lauren Boskel, John. I think they're still needing some volunteers. It's most helpful if you're able to serve consistently in a single spot through the week. But if not, hey, I know that they will take whatever you bring, talent-wise or gifting-wise. So there'll be a place for you. So I want to encourage everyone to lean in and be a part of that. So, yeah. So now I want to read something. I'm reading in my personal time. I'm reading through 2 Corinthians right now, and reading the Message translation. Actually, it's not a translation. It's more of a paraphrase. Do not go to the Message for accuracy. Go to the Message for tone and passion and feeling. But I was reading in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and it's a passage that I've read it a number of times. I've heard messages on it in my vast experiences in church, but it's about Paul and the thorn in the flesh. And I was reading through it, and you know how things will strike you a little differently, even though you've read it, heard it many, many times. So here's kind of the context. Paul had seen and heard things that were extremely unusual, that put him in a class of his own. In other words, he was caught up, he says, in the third heaven, whatever that is. That'd be some kind of a trance or some kind of a vision where he was having an experience with the Lord. This is verse 2 of 2 Corinthians 12. He doesn't know whether he's in the body or not. But verse 4, he's caught up in paradise and heard inexpressible things that no one is permitted to tell. Interesting. What is that? We don't know. He's not allowed to tell. But the point of him saying that, well, he's saying, look, there are people that are talking to you and they're waving their credentials. And he's saying, I don't talk that way. But if I did, here's what I would say. Just that right there. Hey, look, I had an experience with the Lord in heaven. I heard things that you're not allowed to talk about. It's the only time he mentions it. And then because of those things that he was exposed to, the Lord did something to him. And what was that? Well, literally, verse 7, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan. So, thorn in my flesh, I think that's his physical body. I don't think it was a literal thorn, but something that was bothering him. And it was demonic in nature, like it was Satan was acting and making something, a pain in the neck for Paul. Okay. He literally says, this thing is here to keep me from becoming conceited. So it's keeping me down. It's keeping me humble. And so Paul, I know how the prayer goes. Look, I'm trying to do your will. I'm trying to advance your kingdom, plant churches all over the Mediterranean world. Can you take this thing from me so I can work faster and better, more efficiently? That's precisely how the prayers go. And 3 times the Lord said, no, my grace is sufficient for you. So in other words, I'm giving you what you need in order to do my will. So you think that if you didn't have this thing, you would be better off, but that is not true. That is not true. So, what kind of limitations do you have? Limitations, these are weaknesses. Maybe that you work on, that you try to shore up, that plague you. They've been with you since you were little. People keep talking to you about them. Your spouse has brought it up more than a few times. These are weaknesses, propensities that you have. And you think, if you're like me, if this thing were gone, oh my goodness, how I could soar. Wow, I would really be able to get some things done. I'd be able to bust through some barriers, and the barriers that I'm having to deal with are just so annoying, and they keep me from being more effective if it would be removed. Would you be able to handle that? If these weaknesses were taken away and all of a sudden you're sizzling and operating at levels faster and more efficiently than most people, would your head get big? Would you become proud? Would you become arrogant? Probably. You probably would. Let's be honest. It doesn't take much. I think I shared this with the congregation recently, but it doesn't take much for me. If I get a few wins and a few things go right, I believe this is the norm. It should be this way all the time. Finally. And I start thinking differently. Not that I'm not saying it's wrong to think with faith and optimism, but you can start to get conceited and entitled and think that you're something that you're not. So what's keeping you down? And by down, what's keeping you humble? Weaknesses that limit you. So that's my first question. What in your life is keeping you down? Second, have you had conversations with the Lord about it? Have you asked him to take it away? Are you in relationship with him at such a level that you can talk to him about it and you can hear his yes or his no in terms of dealing with it? I found it interesting. Paul says 3 times I talked to him about it, and 3 times he gave me the same answer. Can the Lord tell you things and you hear them and be content with his answers regarding these things that frustrate you, that bog you down, you think, I think, that slow us down? Is his grace sufficient? And do we believe that his grace is sufficient? In other words, you can do all that you need to do, and you can be all that you can be with the weakness, and your dreams are not limited. The vision that Christ has for your life is not limited. So just some thoughts. It kind of dovetails in with a theology of suffering, which I think we really need to get familiar with that, because there's just more and more things that are going sideways in our country and in the church culture, broadly speaking, and even at Crosspoint, things don't always go the way we want them to go. So what's your theology of suffering? So I'm sharing this with you. I hope that it helps. It definitely has given me a little something to think about being more okay with the weaknesses. So anyway, I'm going to bless you, Crosspoint. I hope that this helps. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 12. I'm going to bless you now, okay? Lord, bless you and keep you. Lord, make his face shine upon you, be gracious to you. Lord, make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Amen. All right. See you, Crosspoint. Bye.